Chelsea versus PAOK. Chelsea need just 1 point to win the group with a game to spare and will also really want to get back to winning ways after the tough defeat on the weekend. Hazard is set to miss the game with injury, while it now is surely finally the time to see Callum Hudson-Odoi start his first competitive game of the season. To find out everything you need to know about both sides ahead of the game, make sure you watch all of this preview. Hello there guys and welcome back to 100% Chelsea for my preview of the Chelsea versus PAOK game in the 5th round of the Europa League, taking place tomorrow evening, of course, at Stamford Bridge. And I am looking forward to the game, but rather than actually for the game itself particularly, it's more like, alright, let's try to forget about that defeat on the weekend and, you know, let's win a game. Let's win a game and get the frustration of our souls, if you will, because, you know, I'm still not over that defeat. I'm really not. But yeah, I mean, I am kind of looking forward to it, especially, you know, if certain players do play. If they don't, less looking forward to it. But of course, this is the preview. There will be a review, there will be fan cams, there will be all sorts of content coming out surrounding the game. So if you don't want to miss out on any of that, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea. And also, let's see whether we can hit 400 or more likes in this video. That would be massively appreciated. So make sure you smash that like button down below. That just shows us that you do enjoy our content. But now, no more waffling and let's get into the preview and start to get off by speaking about our opposition, PAOK. Now, obviously, I've spoken about them in detail before we first played them away in Greece earlier this season. So for some background info, you know, on them, about them, if you didn't watch the video, I just want a reminder, click the card up there to watch the video, you know, like I said, for some background info about the club. But of course, you know, that was a while back, so since then a few things certainly have changed. Now in the Europa League itself, of course, no game had been played by then, you know, before we first played them, because it was our first game of the group stages. But now we are 4 games in, and PAOK currently sit in 3rd of the, you know, in our Europa League group, 3 points behind VD, who are in 2nd. But ahead of Bate, but only on goal difference. The Greek league, though, they are kind of dominating at the moment, as they are top, 5 points ahead of 2nd, even though, like I mentioned in the last preview, like I said, which, you know, click the card up there, they had 2 points deducted this season following things that went down last season. So basically, they're kind of 7 points ahead, you know, of what they actually gained. But, you know, 2 points deducted, and they're still 5 points ahead. So fair play, they're doing quite well. In the Europa League, though, things haven't gone that well for them. They've scored 4 goals, which, you know, you think is quite decent in 4 games. Not awful anyway. But they scored all of them in 1 game away at Bate in their 4-1 victory. The other games, they've lost 1-0 to us, both legs against VD, 1-0 away in Hungary, and 2-0 when they played them at home in Greece. Now, the top goal scorer so far this season has been Serbian striker Aleksandar Prijovic with 7 goals. But other than that, no one in their team has scored more than 2 goals in the league, which obviously kind of suggests that you take him out of the game, you take most of their goal threat, you know, out of the game. Like I said, in the, you know, when I first spoke about PAOK, you know, I won't pretend to watch the Greek league. I mean, I've watched a few clips here and there of them, you know, highlights and stuff to kind of know what they're about a little bit. But, you know, I can't call myself an expert on them. But, you know, one guy scores 7 goals and no one else scores many. You know, he kind of has to be the main threat, doesn't he? They always do play in a 4-2-3-1 formation, like literally always. They also did so against us when we faced them. And of course, back home in the league, you know, they are dominating it, like I said. So they are used to dominating and controlling games, both possession and chances-wise. But against us, that was very, very different, as we had almost 70% off the ball and they really had hardly any chances. Although it isn't just in the Greek league, also the other games in the Europa League, they've dominated possession-wise, over 70% off the ball in both games against VD, even though they lost both of them, and also similar against Bate, which they obviously won. So, you know, I do expect us to have quite a lot of the ball tomorrow, but, you know, they are sure used to having the ball usually, well, basically except when they're facing a significantly better team than they are in, obviously, a team like Chelsea. So they're not going to be an easy opponent at all. They weren't last time and it won't be this time. But, you know, that's really about PAOK. And now let's get into Mauricio Sarri's pre-match press conference. And on team news, Sarri first stated that both Victor Moses with a back problem and Eden Hazard with an ankle injury are out for tomorrow's game. But Sarri does think that we will be able to recover Hazard for the game against Fulham on Sunday. And a strong indicator for that also being, you know, that he reportedly at least actually trained with the team today, at least for the part of the opening training sessions that was open to journalists today. He was part of that with the rest of the team. Whether he, of course, took the whole training session or not, I don't know. But, you know, it sure does suggest that he will be fine to play Fulham on the weekend. Now, talking about the game against Spurs, Sarri put it quite simply and honestly. He said we played very, very badly, which we all know. And he also said that we played without determination. But he said it's the first defeat in 110 days, so the team generally has done well, of course. But we still have to find out why we played without determination against Tottenham, because that's just not normal. And then the boss said that he wants to see a reaction after that defeat, both tomorrow and against Fulham, and wants to see that we have learned our lessons, if you will, because, you know, he clearly wasn't, happy at all after that performance. And the boss then also confirmed that he had individual around 10-minute meetings with every single player in the squad after the weekend's defeat. But he said it is actually quite difficult for the players to know or tell him why exactly there, at least in his opinion, was a lack of determination. The boss said maybe some of the players are a little bit demotivated and are kind of lacking targets. Short term, Sarri said himself, short term, his target is to win something. And in the long run, he wants Chelsea to become the best team in Europe. And that is obviously exactly what I want to hear. I don't quite know what to make of his comments that they lack targets and are demotivated. Don't be demotivated against Spurs. That is quite ridiculous. Like, if you're demotivated against, I don't know, PAOK now, I can kind of understand that to an extent. But not against Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't be doing that. And lack of targets, I suppose they kind of know that we're not going to beat City, and they kind of at least expect from themselves to at least make top 4, so there's not much to fight for maybe in some of the players' minds. But top 4 won't be easy, so sort your heads out and let's get back to winning games. He then obviously went on to saying that the target for tomorrow is of course to top the group, and for that we need just 1 point. But also, you can't play for a draw, so Sarri said we will go for the win, but we can also do that if we do change 7 or 8 players. Sarri then commented on what a lot of people have been talking about. Jorginho and Kante in their positions. Obviously, a lot of people are saying, no, we have to play Kante in that defensive midfielder role because Jorginho just can't handle it, especially when he's being pressurised and pressed. And Sarri just made it clear he's proper central midfielder, not the left and right central midfielder. He's proper central midfielder, the kind of DM. He wants to be very technical, so that position will be filled by either Jorginho or says Fabregas, not Kante. And he's very firm with that. That's his idea of football, and he's not going to change with that. And he did actually state that Kante wanted to solve the match on the weekend, kind of by himself after the first 50 minutes, but he did it the wrong way, and he lost his position by doing so because he was way too attacking and attacked the box way too much, and that kind of cost us. And Saudi did though say that it was kind of just a result of just the difficulties we had in the game. I mean, at least it seems that Kante was motivated and didn't lack determination because he tried to do it all by himself, but maybe not in the right way with, obviously what Sarri wants from him, because Sarri did say that Kante has to stay close to Jorginho, especially when the ball is on our left-hand side rather than the right-hand side, obviously, where Kante plays. And some people have, of course, immediately jumped to the conclusion, well, why does Kante have to stay close to Jorginho? Just to protect him because Jorginho is bad at defending and stuff like that. Well, yes, but that's just the idea. That's just how his system works. That's why he has 3 midfielders rather than 2, like, some other formations. That's why you have 3, and then someone like Kante can give Jorginho protection, and then Jorginho can still dictate the game. That's the plan. It didn't work against Tottenham, of course, but that's the plan nonetheless. And then finally, asked about Callum Hudson-Odoi, Sarri said very clearly that the player still has to improve a lot. First of all, in the defensive phase, but also, going forward in attacking. While he is very good in 1v1 situations, he said he still has to learn how to move without the ball, when we are in possession, but he doesn't have the ball. Potentially, he can be a very, very good player, the boss said, but now he still has to study and learn, but that is completely normal. He's only 18. Sarri said that he does want to find space for him, but we have 28 players, so he said it's difficult, but he is trying, and confirmed that Callum Hudson-Odoi will be part of the 18-man squad tomorrow. Whether he will start or be on the bench, Sarri wouldn't or couldn't confirm. That was everything that Sarri spoke about, and then it was Olivier Giroud's turn, who obviously, as you should know by now, ahead of, European games, there's the manager and also another player speaking, and Giroud was, that player that spoke to the media and actually disagreed with Sarri and said that he doesn't think there was a lack of determination on Saturday, but of course, said it was a very disappointing result and performance. Although he then said maybe we weren't ready in the head to play this kind of game against Tottenham, which kind of then counters his previous statement. And then the last thing that Olivier Giroud said that I'm going to mention is that, he was actually meant to start against Tottenham on the weekend. But like I said in the preview to the Tottenham game, because Olivier Giroud came back to training quite a few days later than Morata did, because France played later than Spain did, Sarri changed his mind and decided to start Alvaro Morata. But that was it from the press conference, and now coming to Chelsea and speaking about our lineup. Now, Sarri did mention that 7 to 8 changes could be made or should be made or should be fine to make. But personally, I kind of hope for like 9, 9 or 10 maybe, but like 9 at least kind of thing. Because, obviously Kepa will remain in goal, I'm pretty sure anyway, because, he did so far in every Europa League game. And also, except against PAOK, our back 4 has always changed completely. Like, none of the usual Premier League starters have started any games in Europa League except away at PAOK. So I expect the same to happen tomorrow. Maybe, just maybe, Ampadu will play. But to be honest, I doubt it. Maybe he will come on, but I very much doubt that he will start. In midfield, I also expect some changes. I don't think Jorginho and Kovacic will start unless Sarri plans to start Barkley on Sunday. Then Kovacic might stay in the side for tomorrow. The main question though is, will Kante stay in the team, or will he start with 2 more attacking-minded players in midfield like he did away at Bate in our last Europa League game when it didn't exactly work out all so well because we needed to get very lucky to win that game. But as we are at home and Kante played both games for France last week as well, I do actually think that he will be rested. As for the front three, unless Sarri plans to start Giroud at Fulham, on the weekend, I expect the Frenchman to start tomorrow. Pedro, I'm pretty sure will start. Obviously, he only came on against Tottenham. But the question is basically the other way. Hazard and Moses are out, so that only leaves us with Willian and Callum Hudson-Odoi as our options to start on that other wing. And for me, it just has to be Callum Hudson-Odoi that starts. We're already qualified to the knockout stages. We only need one more point to win the group. And Willian has already played a lot of games and a lot of football this season. And Sarri did say that Callum Hudson-Odoi has to improve. But this game isn't exactly of huge importance as we are already qualified. And I very much doubt that Hudson-Odoi playing or not playing will be that decisive as to whether we'll get a point or not get a point. At least a point or not get a point. And also, where do you learn the most? Where do you improve the most? In games or in training? Because I think we all know the answer to that. But I have a feeling that Sarri will actually start Willian over him and only bring Hudson-Odoi on throughout the game. I hope I'm wrong, but that's just what my gut is telling me. So, the team that I think will start tomorrow is this. Obviously, the 4-3-3 formation. Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal. Then a back four of Davide Zappacosta and Emerson Palmieri as the two fullbacks. Gary Cahill and Andreas Christensen as the two centre-backs. Then a midfield three of Cesc Fabregas, Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Ross Barkley. Like I said, unless Kante plays, but I think he will be rested. And then a front three of Willian, like I said, I think it's going to be Willian. And Pedro on the other side, and then Olivier Giroud up front. Realistically, kind of no matter what team we go with, we should really get the 3 points tomorrow. Although, like I said, I don't expect an easy game at all. But it's now finally so important that we get back to playing how Sarri wants us to play. Like, at least close to it. Because we haven't done anywhere near, in recent games. We finally just start passing the ball so much more quickly. Like, it's actually ridiculous how slowly we're passing the ball when our idea of football is to pass the ball quickly. It's ridiculous. The idea cannot work if you pass the ball as slowly as we have been doing recently. We have to make sure that we move a lot more, which also makes the quick passing better because, if you're just static, all the players are static, the other players find it tricky to pass the ball quickly because, the other players are marked and, can't be passed to, and that slows everything down. So movement is extremely important, and also we simply have to press so much more better. I mean, maybe pressing won't be hugely important against PAOK because, we are quite a lot better team than they are, but we need to get into the habit of pressing well every game. So a game against a slightly weaker opponent like PAOK could and should be used for that, in my opinion, and it's just crucially important to get into the habit of doing these things again. Prediction-wise, I'm going to go for a 2-0 win for Chelsea, although I really hope the lads, whether they played against Spurs or not, can get some of their frustrations off their chest by just blowing PAOK away. That would just be great. That would be good for everybody. Whether that will happen or not, we'll just have to wait and see. But to be honest, that's really it from me. Leave me all of your thoughts on the preview, on everything that I've mentioned, your score predictions, your lineup predictions, all of it down in the comment section below. Like I said in the beginning, let's see whether we can hit 400 or more likes on this video. That would be massively appreciated. So make sure you smash that like button down below. Of course, don't forget to check out my social media, which is Last1507 on both Instagram and Twitter. As you can see over here, and also the links to both of them will be down in the description. So if you could follow me over there, I would absolutely love that. And of course, this is YouTube. So if you haven't already, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea. And also don't forget to hit the notification bell button and choose to be notified about all uploads so you don't miss any of our future videos. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea. And I'll see you next time.